The moment has finally arrived, everybody. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is out. What is the verdict? Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's featured movie is one of the most important movies in my life right now, at least, of the year. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's directed by Mark Webb. It stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Jamie Foxx, Dane DeHaan, Sally Field, among others. And the story picks up where the first one left off. Peter Parker has broken his promise to Gwen Stacy's father, Captain Stacy, to leave her out of a situation of being Spider-Man because harm could be inflicted upon her. And while they're having relationship struggles, we also have Electro coming into the mix, Harry Osborn, who is Peter Parker's long best friend after 10 years coming back into his life, and we also have Oscorp still doing devious plans, and a lot of other things going on at the same time that create internal and external struggles for our lovely Peter Parker. Those who know me already don't need to hear this, but those who don't know me, quick little thing. I love Spider-Man so much, and a lot was riding on this movie for me. I didn't have expectations, but I was hopeful and optimistic for it because I have a part in the movie. I played an extra, and I was looking for myself in the movie. I love Spider-Man, and I thought that this movie had the potential to be one of the best superhero movies and Spider-Man movies of all time, given the subject matter and what was going on with the characters, because I've read the comic books. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was okay. It was a good movie. But it could have been so much better. Just like with the first film, there are aspects to it that are fantastic, and there are other aspects that just mope it and churn it down into a product that feels very messy and choppy to the point where it doesn't feel like a coherent and cohesive film. Rather, a string of scenes that come together to create a 2.5-hour movie. And unfortunately, a lot of the bad things deter from the experience. At least it did for me. Let me start off with the positive things, though. The spirit of The Amazing Spider-Man is ever so alive with this movie. You really feel like you're watching a live-action Saturday morning cartoon as you watch Spider-Man swing through the streets. It's really fun watching Spider-Man / Peter Parker doing his thing, having fun being Spider-Man. It's also really fun to watch the action sequences. The action sequences, although CGI heavy at moments, are really well shot and well conceived, and they are some of the best that we've seen in Spider-Man history, movie-wise, so far. The movie's very colorful, it's very vibrant, it's well made visually. Another thing is that I love Spider-Man, and I love watching him do his thing, but in other ways, I like Peter Parker's side more, and I like watching just characters have conversations. Conversations within the Spider-Man universe are some of the most interesting conversations we can ever have with a Marvel movie, and there are some scenes in here that have characters interacting with each other just by pure dialogue and conversation, and those were some of the most compelling scenes in the whole movie, not the action sequences, in my opinion. The relationship between Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, played by Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, is just so strong in this movie, in my opinion. So much stronger than the first one because you actually feel their struggles in their relationship, and even though they go from breaking up to not breaking up, to being in love, to not falling in love. It's like a real relationship. It just, you don't know what to fucking do. In my opinion, when all else fails, their relationship helps keep the movie together with sticky glue, and it sells the movie, in my opinion, because their chemistry together is amazing, and provides for some very compelling scenes. Some scenes that, well, one scene that, yeah. The acting is a mixed bag, but from Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and Sally Field, to name a couple, fantastic. Andrew Garfield is the quintessential Spider-Man Peter Parker, in my opinion. He's better than Tobey Maguire after this movie's concerned. Emma Stone is a lot better in this role because she has more to work with. And then Sally Field is just, she's a sweetheart. I love her. Also, the composed score by Hans Zimmer and the Magnificent Six is fantastic. It gives you the feels, it gives you the exhilaration, and it gives you the awesome sauce. But now let's get into the problems. The film, like I mentioned before, feels like a live-action Saturday morning cartoon. Like watching the 90s cartoon, and I was a huge fan, still am, of the 90s cartoon. However, some of that does not translate to film, cinema, too well. The movie is very very embracingly cartoony and cheesy at times. Almost too much to the point sometimes where I felt like I was being taken out of the movie because there was a moment where a villain or a character had to break silence with a really bad one-liner. For example, Jamie Foxx's Electro. I really liked the character in the movie. I really liked what he went through as a character, sympathetically becoming a villain. And visually he was cool too. But some of the things he has to say, he's criminally insane. He's a psycho, the character, Max Dillon. But some of the things he had to say just felt like such bad screenwriting. The screenplay for this movie feels so bogged down and mundane and choppy at points. It just feels like a very complicated movie. Much like Peter and Gwen's relationship, it feels so complicated because it's trying to do so many things at the same time and trying to be cohesive when it's actually just one giant mess. Because you have these great scenes and you have other scenes that don't feel right at all and they feel like they shouldn't be there. They're only there to serve convenience, pure plot convenience, and create for future movies. A lot of things that happened in this movie just felt like it was there for simple convenience. Didn't feel natural. Didn't feel like it had to be there. It was just there to give other characters purpose in the movie. A lot of things are rushed. The movie is fast-paced for what it's trying to do, but certain characters' character arcs are very rushed. Best example, Harry Osborn, which is a reason why, if they really planned this right, they should have had him be in the first movie too. But his character arc, even though I thought Dane DeHaan was great in his character role as Harry Osborn, I feel like his character could have been more fleshed out in execution. The film is also very inconsistent in tone, because there's such massive shifts in tone throughout the movie. Because one moment it'll be very serious, and another moment it'll be very lighthearted. In this film, it just felt awkward at moments when it went from being really dramatic to being like, oh, now we're playing Philip Phillips, and we're having a montage with Philip Phillips. Philip Phillips! Yeah, the composed score is great, but some of the musical choices with actual music in this movie are dubious and questionable. But though, when all else fails, aside from the relationship between Gwen and Peter, which I think is the best thing in the movie, I think that the Saturday morning cartoon feeling of this movie does save it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not a game changer. It's not a great movie. It's not even a really good movie. It's just good. It's better than the first movie, in my opinion. It's not anywhere near the same league as the first two Raimi movies. It's better than Spider-Man 3. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. And it has an emotional element to the movie that actually made me cry tears. The movie, when it has to, brings the feels. And I gotta give credit where credit is due. Mark Webb, you directed this movie as competently as you could. It's a mixed bag, but it did impact me in ways, so I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's a darn good Applebee's meal. Turning the web-slinging tables to you guys, when you see The Amazing Spider-Man 2, what did you personally think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss a review from me again if you enjoyed my review. Also check out my Facebook, my Twitter, and Wheel of Film accounts down there. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, 'cause you don't always get what you want. Just the way life is sometimes. Oh well. See you next time.